All right. Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. Welcome in indeed. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. Happy Friday, everybody. It is so very Friday out there, and we are glad that you are here with us. Our show, Eye on the Valley, is brought to you, as I said, by SCVi and iLead Schools. We are a network of charter schools with campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've got a fully accredited online school, TK through 12. Yes, your kindergartner can learn to read online. We've got an amazing online school. Our home study program is also blowing up. It is called iLead Exploration. You know what? We've got campus-based schools. We've got virtual schools. We've got home study. We've got hybrid. We've got everything that your learner needs, no matter what their learning style is, no matter what their schedule is, no matter what their need is. Check us out at iLeadschools.org for information on the perfect school for your child's learning style. Always individualized, no matter what the format is. That's iLeadschools.org. And remember, when I say charter, you say free. Charter schools are free public schools. That's right. Any one of our schools open for enrollment in LA County, Kern County, Ventura County, San Bernardino County, and Orange County. As long as you can get your kid to our school, then you can enroll. And so, yeah, again, iLeadschools.org is the place to go. Why don't you head there now? Check us out while we chat. We've got a couple hours together here on Eye on the Valley. It's going to be a great Friday. It's a sandbag Friday here on Eye on the Valley. Don't let that rain wash away your petunias. It's actually looking like the rain is drying up for the next few days. We needed it. We got it. Now it's going away for about a week. We're going to get a little colder here this week, and then toward the end of next week, we'll get a few more sprinkles and showers. So, I love the rain. It is my favorite type of weather. I like the heat. I like the sweltering heat, but I also love the rain. I love the way it smells. You know, you wake up and it just smells like rain. I love the way it sounds. For me, there is no better white noise to sleep to than the rain. I actually have a sleep app that records me because, you know, I'm a snorer. I'm a snorter. Need to make sure that I'm not dying in my sleep. But as I woke up this morning and I checked it out, I could hear the rain in the background, even on my app there. And it is just so lovely, so relaxing. And after these fires, welcome. But like everything, it is good in moderation, right? So let's bring this one back. You know what else we're bringing back? We're bringing back Kris Nilsen. Not Nelson, Nilsen. I do that all the time when I get this thing in my throat. Kris Nilsen is college and career counselor at SCVi. She joined us recently back in December. She was great, so we decided to have her back. We like to feature. Kris does a lot of things there at SCVi that are really, really important. She does a lot of things that are unique and innovative, and those are the things we like to highlight here on Eye on the Valley, is what's unique and innovative about our schools, about our programs and practices. And Kris is one of those people that just does so much for our high schoolers that we constantly have her on talking about all the different things that she's helping our high schoolers do. And today, Kris has got some college acceptance announcements. So looking forward to that. And then in hour number 2, I'm looking forward to that as well. We'll speak with 2 leaders from one of my favorite nonprofits in town, talking about Bridge to Home. Very excited about that. Chris Najarro, Executive Director, and Mandy O'Connor, Director of Development, will join us in hour number 2. If you don't know Bridge to Home, first of all, what's the matter with you? Just kidding. Bridge to Home is fantastic. They provide shelters, support services, affordable housing, and they advocate for sustainable solutions for our neighbors in need. This group they're just really inspiring. So that's hour number 2. And, if you're just here to goof off, if you're just here to laugh and giggle and listen to an utter train wreck on the radio, well, then you're going to have to wait to the end of the show when my stupid big brother comes by. That's right. Producer Sarah puts together an incredibly buttoned-up show every week, only to have Big T come along the last 10 minutes of the show and just completely trash the place. So, but one thing's for sure, it will be entertaining, no matter which direction it goes in. And speaking of entertaining, we've got a new segment for you today, if we've got time for it. We've got a new segment that we're calling News That Nobody Cares About. So I'm really excited about this one. If you are too, you shouldn't be. It'll be fun, but it will be news that nobody cares about. So hang with us, won't you? So let's go ahead and get started. I want to ask you a question. Where do your kids go to school, right? That's a question that all your neighbors are asking at the barbecue. Where do your kids go to school? Santa Clarita is known, that's the reason everybody moves here, right? I think 60% of the people that live here came for the schools. We are known for having the best schools in Southern California and the state. But what if I told you that you could send your kids to a small boutique school that catered to your child's individual needs, a school that offered TK and kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, so your kid could go to the same school for 13, maybe even 14 years if they fit that TK window, but was still so small that the administration, the teachers, and the rest of the staff knew every kid by name. A school that offered hands-on, relevant, project-based curriculum that prepared kids not only for college, but a great career. Now, what would you say if I told you that you could get all that for free? That's right. SCVi Charter School, Santa Clarita's first classroom-based public charter school, is doing just that. Right here on the west side of town, rigorous and relevant academic curriculum, safe, welcoming environment, and one of the most engaging and engaged and energetic college counselors you've ever met. I'm talking about Kris Nilsen, college and career counselor at SCVi. Kris, welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Hi, Matt. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Well, we love having you, and something that few people know, you are the Jack Parr to my Johnny Carson. You ran the show before I got to take over.
I did very briefly, but I just cannot hold a candle to you, of course.
Not true. You've just got more important things to do on a Friday morning. But, Kris, I mentioned just a few shows ago, back in December, you were here with us, and you were talking about some of the great things going on at SCVi, but you're starting to get some really good news. You're starting to get some really good news every single day. So we wanted to have you back to check in and get an update on what's happening with our high school seniors. Let's start here. We want to start with you, give our listeners a background, because you've had an amazingly diverse career, Kris. You have ticked and tacked all the way through an incredibly exciting career. Why don't you tell us about your professional journey and background, and then what brought you to SCVi?
Sure, no problem. Yeah, I've always kind of enjoyed working with kids. I did summer camp for many years and went to college and studied sociology at CSUN, and I really wanted to be a probation officer, interestingly enough, and kind of work with, kids that are having a tough time and maybe with the law. So when I graduated, I worked at a boys' home for boys on probation, and that was very enriching, but I realized that the probation officers didn't spend a lot of time with them. It was really more about the paperwork and their quotas. So I was in group with them and saw how much a social worker really gave them, what they needed to get them out of their situation. And so I went back to school to Cal State Long Beach and got my master's in social work. When I graduated there, I worked for Department of Children and Family Services as a reunification worker, and that was a really tough 2 years, working with kids and families, kids that have been abused. And when I started my family, I realized it was a pretty tough job to kind of carry on, and just by chance, my mom had been working at Pinecrest Schools for a long time, and she said, I need a math teacher at the middle school in Woodland Hills. And so I said, okay, why don't I try that? And so I did, and the best thing is both my daughters were able to attend Pinecrest from preschool, so 18 months all the way through 8th grade, and I was a teacher. My mom was my principal. She was amazing. And then she wanted to get back in the classroom and said, I think you should be principal. So I decided to go back to school to Cal State Northridge to get my master's in education and my administrative credential. so that I could be an efficient and qualified principal. So I did that for a few years, and then in the end of the Pinecrest years, I was the campus director at the Pinecrest and Simi Valley. So there were about 8 campuses, family-owned since 1961, and they closed all of their doors in 2016. And by chance, iLead was looking to kind of tap into Simi Valley and was looking at possibly purchasing Pinecrest Simi Valley.
Yep.
So I was able to meet one of our founders, Amber Raskin, and they were looking at it. Unfortunately, Pinecrest Schools sold the school to another private school in the area, but I realized I would love to work in high school. That was kind of always my dream, to be a high school counselor. And sure enough, Santa Cruz Valley International up here in Castaic needed a full-time counselor, and I was hired in August of 2016 as the academic and college counselor. And this is my 9th year, and it has been the most awesome journey. We just finished National Counseling Week, and I know people remember counselors, but I look at it as a time to talk about and to share knowledge with our learners here at SCVi. So every day this week I've been sending out little messages. This theme this year is Thrive, and I tell the kids I do not thrive. I only thrive because they thrive, and it is my passion. It is my job. I absolutely love what I do, and I just feel so blessed and lucky that I am part of SCVi.
Well, and Kris, you're so good at it. First of all, I remember when you came in and you were a new counselor, you picked it up so quickly, and you've learned so much more every year, just adding to your tool belt of services that you can bring our kids. And you do an amazing job with communication, putting out your newsletter for your kids, for your families, the way you work. Well, we'll get into it. We'll get all into it. When you were here last time in December, the kids were getting their applications in, right? They were sending them in. Some of them were applying for early decision or early action. So even though it's only February, those acceptances are starting to roll in, aren't they? So
yes, they are.
Let's hit the credits. Where are your kids getting in?
So we've gotten some early, which is nice. I had one learner that applied early decision, which means that's the only college they want to go to. They apply early decision, and of course she did get in.
All right.
With scholarship money. So, and that's Worcester Polytechnic, which is in Boston. We have schools like Rocky Mountain College in Montana. We've got Pace University in New York. We've got Embry-Riddle, which is in aerospace. So 2 of our learners have gotten in there, which is in Arizona and Florida. And we've got some locals. We've got some Cal State. So we haven't heard from the University of California schools quite yet, but we've got some Cal State Channel Islands, Pomona, Long Beach, Cal State LA, Northridge, Sacramento, Cal State San Diego, not an easy one to get into, as well as Cal State Long Beach is also one that's not easy to get into.
LBC.
Some kids might be traveling across the ocean because we've got a couple at Hawaii Pacific University and the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And then a couple maybe possibly going up to Seattle, Washington for the Evergreen State College, or one of my favorite college that changes lives is the University of Puget Sound. It is like a mini Ivy League school there in Olympia, Washington, and it's just beautiful. And then we've got some locally in Malibu, possibly going to Pepperdine University. Also, Oregon is pretty popular. We've got Lewis and Clark College. So we've just got, a gambit of kids just applying around the United States. It's about 109 applications to 68 colleges around the country. It's been very exciting. The kids have been doing really well. It's a lot of work, as you know, applying to colleges and getting everything in by deadlines. And what I've been really excited about is we have about 7 kids so far that have actually received the Cal Grant, which is money from the state of California that they use towards tuition, and possibly getting some federal money. We haven't heard from FAFSA yet, but a lot of these kids are getting amazing presidential scholarships from these private small liberal arts colleges that make it honestly cheaper to attend than our local California colleges.
Kris, you and I talk about this all the time. I learned that firsthand when my kid applied for a state school right here in California, and I thought, woohoo! And then he applied for a small liberal arts school on the East Coast, and I thought, gulp, I'm going to have to take out a second mortgage to pay for his schooling. And after the offers that he got, he got this scholarship and that scholarship, and they gave him a couple of incentives. The tuition there would have actually been lower than the tuition that he ended up staying here in California. You want to stay close to home. But yeah, that's absolutely right. Let's talk about your philosophy on that, Kris, because you mentioned the Cal State schools, the UCs haven't come back yet, and you've got a lot of kids that for a lot of different reasons, personal reasons, programmatic reasons, academic reasons, want to go to some of those larger schools. But you also do an amazing job of introducing your kids to schools that maybe they haven't heard of. So what's your philosophy when you're doing that college counseling, when kids come in and say, I don't know if I want to go to UCLA or USC or Stanford or Michigan State? What's your philosophy when introducing them to other schools?
Sure, Matt. So as you talked about when I first started here, it was very overwhelming of everything in that world of college and what I needed to know. But I had a great mentor, and she taught me about colleges that change lives. So a man named Lauren Pope wrote a book about them, and they're kind of scattered, about 45 of them. Small liberal arts colleges that not only focus on academics and graduation, but they focus kind of like SCVi on the whole person. It's character, it's relationships, it's communication, it's opportunities. And so, a lot of our kids, they all know the same schools out there, Stanford, UCLA, and think that those are the best colleges and that's where they need to apply. And what I have found in this journey over the past 9 years is there is a fit for everyone. We are a very small school, and kids tend to see those bigger schools and say, well, I want to be, a little fish in a big pond. And, I went to Cal State Northridge, and, there were 20,000 when I went, and now there's 40,000.
Yep.
So it's a lot. And some kids, I guess, they can handle it, of course, and they're very good schools. But why not go to a school where you're going to be known? A lot of these kids think, 1,500, 2,000 at a campus. Gosh, that's so small. There's some high schools that have that much. And I said, you're exactly right. But the opportunities and the attention that they're given, whereas at a bigger school, they can be kind of forgotten. And just because a school is said, in the U.S. News reports to be a great school, it doesn't mean it fits everyone. There's so many things to look at, where the campus is, the type of campus, maybe the clubs, maybe even the weather. There are some kids from California that think they can go back to the, back east into that cold weather and maybe find out that it's a little tougher than they thought. So it's really fun, and I try to let the kids know that it's kind of an adventure and fun to think about, looking at all these different places, maybe even going to the UK. I do have a learner applying to the American University of Paris, which is an American-run university in Paris, France. So there's so many schools out there. I just don't want the kids to focus on those few that we all kind of hear about.
Yeah, you think you can handle that East Coast snow, but you can't, Nemo. All right, we are talking to Kris Nilsen, college and career counselor at SCVi Charter School, your free public TK through 12 charter school on the west side of the Santa Clarita Valley, where I've only lived for 44 years and can't remember the name. But we'll talk more with Kris when we get back about, for example, something that's even more important than getting in to college. That and a lot more when we get back. I'm Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley, and you're listening to your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I'm joined this morning by college and career counselor at SCVi Charter School, Kris Nilsen. Now, Kris, I mentioned before the break, you just rattled off a list of a ton of schools. I think you mentioned over 100 schools that our kids have applied for, and they're getting into most of them, especially with the early action and things like that. But something that is even more important than college acceptance. And I know parents out there, especially parents of juniors and seniors, are like, no, it's all about the school your kid gets into. No, it's not. It's about the college that your kid stays in, right? I'm talking about college persistence. Oftentimes that can be so much more important than college acceptance, right? So it's finding the right fit for kids going off to college so that when they go there, they stay there. Why is that so important, Kris, for the kids' success in college?
Well, you have to feel like you're part of something. And going onto a big campus because you thought it was the best program or maybe a friend was going there, and then you get there and you realize it might be a little bit lonely, maybe it wasn't what you thought it was going to be, because for a lot of our kids, I love that they're applying to schools outside of California. They're really, taking that risk, and it's probably something I could not have done at 18. And they're not able to visit those schools, and so there's a lot of great resources out there to do kind of campus tours, but it really is important to really look at those schools and make sure that it's something that you could see yourself at. There's one thing that I find out in every webinar that I do and every college admissions person I talk to that really says it doesn't matter where you go for undergrad, it matters what you do there. So rather than trying to go to the school that everybody knows and everybody thinks is the best school, it really is an opportunity to go somewhere where you feel a part of something and that you can make a difference, and you're going to meet people and you're going to talk about new ideas and you're going to study abroad, and it's so much more important for that. It's not just about the destination, it's about the journey, and I love that journey to be an adventure for those kids, and not have to go to a school and find out that it really was just not the best choice for them.
Yeah, that is so important. Kris, just a couple of days ago, I was over at SCVi, kind of toward the end of the school day, and doing some work over there, and somebody came walking into the office and saw me from behind and shouted, "Mr. Watson!" And I turned around, and it was a mom of a second grader and a kindergartner, and she had her little kids there. And as soon as I turned around, she grabbed me and gave me a big hug. She was one of my students when I was the high school director there, and she and her high school sweetheart got married, and now they're back with their littles, and I think that's just so cool. But do you ever have your kids? You spend so much time and effort getting these kids launched, right? And going off to college. Do they ever come back and visit you, Kris?
Yeah, they sure do. I mean, having that experience when I worked at Pinecrest Schools, same kind of environment, I was happy to find out that, SCVi is kind of like Pinecrest High School with those kind of relationships, and they do. And a lot of times I have I have group chats, and funny story, recently I worked with some basketball players a couple of years ago, and they pretty much all went D1. Very exciting, kind of from all over the United States, and they were attending SCVi, and they're attending iLead online now. And my phone was ringing, and it was one of the basketball players that graduated or actually left our school about 3 years ago. And I answered, and I think that he mistakenly butt dialed me. I hear these guys talking in the background. So I called him back, and I said, "Hey, it's Mrs. Nilsen. How are you doing?" And I thought, he's so busy. I think he was at Georgia Tech.
Okay.
But soon enough, 5:30, he calls me back, and he goes, "Hey, Nilsen, how are you? It's so good to hear your voice. Oh, my gosh, it's been a long time." And we had a great conversation, and he let me know he was now at Louisiana Tech, and because he was playing a lot more basketball. And,
transfer portal.
I told him that I'm always his counselor. And so I get a lot of kids that come back to visit. They come in town, for vacations or Christmas vacation, and they come in, and sometimes they surprise me, and it is just so great, once they leave, I'm always thinking of the kids, but I do know that they have their lives to live, and I was their counselor in high school, but I really have had a lot of wonderful moments working at SCVi that kids have come back to visit. And I have not ever been back to my high school, in Kennedy High School in Granada Hills, to visit. And so I just love that we have those relationships and that we have an environment that they do want to come back and visit.
Yeah, that it kind of cracks me up. You butt dial your high school college guidance counselor.
Right.
That cracks me up.
That?
It's funny. You mentioned the basketball program. We've got another SCVi graduate who's currently playing for the number 9 ranked Michigan State Spartans. He was in town recently. Unfortunately, he got swept by USC and UCLA. Go Bruins! But yeah, you got lots of kids all over the country doing some amazing things. But the journey to find the learner's right fit for their future doesn't start as a senior or even a junior, does it? When can SCVi learners, when do they start working with you to start tracking toward college and finding the right fit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have a few very, gung-ho kids probably in ninth grade. I try to have them really kind of focus on acclimating to high school. It's quite a big jump from middle school to high school. But kind of starting in 10th grade, letting these kids know what's out there. Actually, I think there was an amazing career project that our ninth grade English facilitator did with our ninth graders in English, having them kind of check out to see what a career looked like after high school and what steps it took to kind of get there. So we start, as early as I think even, elementary, but in high school, we start in ninth grade. In 10th grade, they're focusing on those interests. And, as through ninth grade, they're finding out maybe what subjects might be kind of challenging and what subjects they really like. Finding those interests. In junior year, we definitely start diving into what colleges are out there, what kind of colleges, majors, and financial aid. I do FAFSA presentation, which is the free application for federal student aid, because we want kids to know if they think they can't afford college, there is lots of money out there. We want to make sure they can get everything they can. And so this semester, I'm very excited. Our seniors are getting those acceptances. They've completed their applications. We're now going to have some fun on their last semester before they graduate, and I get to start working with the juniors more intensively on meeting with them individually, creating those college lists, talking about what they think their future might look like after high school. So it's a really exciting time, and I honestly cannot believe we're already in February.
I know, right? And another thing that I think really helps, whether it's college or career or just general interest, you all work very closely with your sophomores, right? You mentioned ninth grade. Let's start to get the feel for high school and what your interests are, what you're good at, maybe what's an area of weakness for you. But in 10th grade, you all introduce what's called the Passion Project, where you challenge your 10th graders. You ask them the question, what are you passionate about? And they develop a year-long project where kids are getting involved in developing their interest in maybe philanthropy or rebuilding their car engine or developing their skills in cosmetology or just anything that they're passionate about. They develop that personal project, and so I'm sure that goes a long way in kind of preparing their brain for college and career. But we talk about SCVi being such a small boutique school where kids really do get that individualized attention. They get it just so hyper individualized through you. But kids also want like that full wraparound high school experience, right? And I know you speak to that so well. Talk to us about how kids in such a small high school can still get that full high school experience.
Yeah, even though we're small, I know that what's great about being small is you kind of get to do a lot more. So every year I do take the kids to the NACAC National College Fair in Pasadena. And this year, because we're nice and small, I was like, let's just take everybody. Unfortunately, it needed to be postponed because of our horrible fires that we were dealing with, and so the Pasadena Convention Center became an awesome evacuation and kind of shelter for all of those families. And so we're hoping it's going to be rescheduled, and I will take the kids. But, we have clubs, we have dances, we have assemblies. We do all of those things that bigger high schools do, but at a kind of smaller level. And what we're finding is, as much as activities and those kind of things can be important, what's really important to kids is those relationships that they have with each other and with their facilitators, and that they feel safe and that they feel supported when they go to school. And especially, I'm also the activities director this year and senior advisor, and our seniors have a lot of exciting things coming up. They're taking their senior pictures. We have prom in May. We have our senior lock-in where we hang out in our school theater and stay up all night and party and have fun, and that's coming up on February 21st. We have our advisory council that is like our student council doing a lot of activities. We have a blood drive coming up here at SCVi on Tuesday, and we have what's called a parents' night out where we are going to be babysitting some kids so some of our SCVi parents can go out for Valentine's Valentine's Day and enjoy dinner where they know their kids are having fun with us. So there's a lot of activities coming up. I'm really excited about our senior retreat at Valley Trails. Kids will be doing high ropes course and archery, and it's a great opportunity for our seniors to spend that quality time together as a senior class before we get into those busy weeks of graduation. And so it's very exciting. What I love is any kids that have an idea about a club that they want to start or something that maybe we don't have at SCVi, we are open to that. And we have a couple of great CTE pathways. We have performing arts and we have aerospace. And so this semester, first semester, our kids were learning about drones, and this semester they're going to be putting together the drones, flying those drones and fixing them. And that's going to be very exciting. So all the way from TK through 12th grade, we've got exciting things going on at SCVi. And the project-based learning that we have and the projects that we do, it is just a great environment for kids to thrive, and that's what we are here to help them do.
I absolutely love it, and you're right. It's amazing that that in such a small school you're able to offer, gosh, in a lot of cases, more than a larger school because you can be so nimble. That's incredible. And Kris, I know you and I talked for about 45 minutes about this back in December, but parents are really smart these days, and they really know what's kind of on the cutting edge of education and where their kids should be going, what they should be doing. Something that parents are constantly asking me about is dual enrollment. Can my kid go to college while they're still in high school? Talk to us for just a little bit about what SCVi is doing in terms of a partnership with the local world-class community college here in town, COC.
Yes, so College of the Canyons is our local college. But what I also tell the kids, we luckily have kids that live kind of in all areas, not just Santa Clarita. Mm-hmm. And so while kids are in high school, they can take college classes for free. At COC, they do need to be going into 11th and 12th grade, but what we've tried to establish in the past few years is dual enrollment, where we have classes that are taught by a College of the Canyons professor here on campus at SCVi to just our SCVi learners. So we have American Sign Language. I have Counseling 150, which is kind of preparing kids for college work, and it is a required course for those graduates to take if they want to do the California Promise program, which is 2 free years of community college at any community college in California. Mm-hmm. And this semester we started the Understanding Theater class. They have an amazing theater department at College of the Canyons, and as we do here as well. And so we have some of our kids taking that Understanding Theater class. So it's preparing our kids while they're in high school for college level work. And what's great is on their transcript, they are weighted out of a 5.0 scale, so it does boost their grade point averages a little bit, which kids, of course, like when they're applying to colleges, but it does give them that experience outside of SCVi. So we have a great relationship with College of the Canyons, and we're always trying to add more and more classes so that kids can get that effect and not have to travel to COC. They can take them right here at SCVi.
I love that. So you've got COC's professors coming onto campus and teaching the college level courses right there. Do you also have kids that are maybe after school or kind of cutting out early and heading over to COC to take other classes on campus as well?
We do, and what I love about having American Sign Language here is that I've had a lot of kids going on. So I have kids currently in last semester taking ASL 102 and even ASL 3 because they loved it so much. So they are on their own. I've had kids taking calculus classes and science classes and some electives, and they can also take those in the summer. So I think the most popular class is a foreign language because if you take a semester of a college language class, that counts as 2 years of high school credit. So the kids kind of jump for joy with that, even though we have an amazing Spanish program here, and I have a lot of kids that take Spanish from our awesome Miss Lindsay Martinez. Yeah. But, yes, we have a lot of kids, especially in junior, senior year when they're able to drive on their own, going to COC and taking those classes, and they're loving it.
I love that. That is, you're just providing that world-class full wraparound experience. Pretty much anything that your kids need or want, you're able to deliver. But for your seniors, as their college acceptances start to roll in, and you rattled off dozens of them last segment, but now as their college acceptances are starting to come in, they're starting to stare down something that's it can be sometimes just as stressful. That's their senior defense. That's something that they present. That's the very last project that they present at SCVi. Can you talk about the senior defense, what that is, and what your kids do?
Sure. So this year we transitioned to doing the International Baccalaureate Career Program because we found that that's more better for our kids here and focusing on career as well as college.
Okay.
And so part of that is a personal and professional skills class, or CP core. So we decided to have our seniors take that class because preparing them professionally and personally for life after high school we found was so important. And one of the projects is called a reflection project. And basically, since we are looking at the CTE, the Career Technical Education Pass, and that career focus, they have chosen an ethical dilemma in a career that they're interested in.
Nice.
So they're diving into all of those different aspects, and their defense is going to be about that dilemma and why they chose it, what it is, and they're going to be presenting to a panel of facilitators, community members, administrators, just getting that experience of presenting and kind of showing, like, these are the things that I have learned while at SCVi and why I am ready to graduate and go out into the world no matter what I choose, whether it's a job, whether it's a gap year, I'm going to travel, go to college. We want them to be prepared. And so I'm excited that we're using the Reflection Project this year for the senior defense.
Kris, I love that, because now not only are you graduating competent, confident seniors, but also kids with an ethical compass. That is absolutely beautiful and so necessary in the workplace today. Kris, we could talk to you for the entire 2 hours, but your kids are going to be banging down your door here pretty soon. I know your kids are coming on campus and they're waiting for you.
They sure are.
So I want to thank you so much for your time this morning and your service to our learners there at SCVi Charter School. Again, free public charter school, TK all the way through 12th grade. Got the best college counselor in town. Go check them out at iLeadSantaClarita.org. That's iLeadSantaClarita.org, or just Google SCVi. Don't go away. When we get back, we've got news that nobody cares about. Oddly enough, you won't want to miss it. I'm Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. And it is time now for news that nobody cares about. All the news that you haven't heard because nobody's reporting on it, because nobody really cares about it. Here we go. The first headline: Dawn Staley benched by airspace rules, blames Trump for Super Bowl snub. South Carolina women's basketball coach and diehard Eagles fan Dawn Staley had big plans to fly to New Orleans this weekend for Super Bowl licks. Wait, that should be Super Bowl 59. Super Bowl 59, yeah. Stupid Roman numerals. Yeah. Let me try that again. South Carolina women's basketball coach and diehard Eagles fan Dawn Staley had big plans to fly to New Orleans for Super Bowl 59 until President Trump's visit grounded her. Due to FAA airspace restrictions for the president's flight, Staley had to scrap her post-game travel plans. So instead of sulking, she opted for a home base watch party, rocking her Eagles gear and rallying fans with motivational quotes. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are hyped for Trump's historic Super Bowl attendance, proving that while some get the VIP treatment, others get stuck on the tarmac. This is news that nobody cares about. Our next story: Pope Francis extends Cardinal's term. Vatican drama fails to match Hollywood. With buzz around the Oscar-nominated film Conclave at a high, Pope Francis decided to keep the real-life drama subdued by extending the term of 91-year-old Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re as Dean of the College of Cardinals. Many expected a fresh face to take over, but Francis instead opted for continuity, possibly for another 5 years, possibly just for now, possibly because Cardinal Re is 91. Meanwhile, the 88-year-old Pope is battling another round of bronchitis, but still managed to hold 8 private meetings before the diagnosis was announced. While Conclave the movie is up for Best Picture, the real Vatican storyline seems more about job extensions than a suspenseful papal intrigue. Once again,
5 years is aggressive too.
yeah, that is aggressive. Talk about a contract extension. Oh boy, once again, this is SCVi and iLead Schools delivering news that nobody cares about. Next story, Scouting America. New name, same badges, slightly more scouts. The Boy Scouts of America has officially rebranded as Scouting America, hoping to leave behind its troubled past and attract a broader audience. So far, the name change has sparked curiosity and a small membership bump. About 16,000 new recruits seems impressive, but that's less than 2%. Girls now make up a growing slice of the organization, with over 196,000 girls participating and more than 8,000 earning Eagle Scout status. To celebrate its 115th birthday, Scouting America will light up landmarks like Niagara Falls and the Empire State Building in red, white, and blue, because nothing says new era like colorful lights and a fresh flag. Meanwhile, the organization is digitizing its materials and embracing multilingual accessibility, proving that even century-old institutions can learn new tricks. This is news that nobody cares about. TikTok tangles in geopolitical chess match as sales talks stall. TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, appears to be dragging its feet on selling the app's U.S. operations, likely waiting for approval from Beijing. But China may prefer to let TikTok just shut down rather than give the U.S. a win without border trade concessions. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump has positioned himself as the deal-maker-in-chief, claiming that Microsoft, Elon Musk, and others are in the mix. However, ByteDance has little incentive to sell, and China has tools like export controls on TikTok's algorithms to block any deal. With geopolitical tensions high, TikTok's fate remains uncertain. There is no truth to the notion that ByteDance CEO Liang Rubo was quoted as saying, "If Elon buys TikTok, we won't be able to use it to spy on Americans, so why would we even want it?" This is news that nobody cares about. Kanye West defends wife Bianca Censori's invisible Grammys dress. Kanye West took to X to praise his wife this week, Bianca Censori, for her bold, nearly nude dress at the Grammys' red carpet, calling her smart, talented, brave, and hot.
Brave.
While their appearance sparked controversy, the couple never intended to attend, or they were never intended to attend the ceremony, as they weren't even invited. Grammy's executive producer Raj Kapoor clarified that West had no nomination, no performance, and no presenting role. That's right. They weren't actually at the Grammys. They just crashed the walk-up. And in an editor's note, it mentions that no images were included in this story for two reasons. One, the FCC won't allow it. And two, this is radio, man. This is news that nobody cares about. What else have we got here? Warner Brothers releases 31 free movies that you won't want to watch on YouTube. Warner Brothers Entertainment has quietly launched 31 movies for free on its YouTube channels in a new effort to monetize older films through digital ads. Titles include Mutiny on the Bounty, The Adventures of Pluto Nash. Yes, put them on your list, Jen. Deal of the Century, the 1983 film starring Chevy Chase, and, oh God, that's right, the 1977 film starring John Denver and George Burns. Unlike previous licensing deals with platforms like Roku and Tubi, this initiative allows Warner Brothers to host films directly on its YouTube channels for easier access. Notably, none of these films are currently available on Max because, again, this is news and movies that nobody cares about.
They're cleaning out their attic, basically.
There they are. And finally, I might be wrong on this one because I actually heard this story this morning as I came in on Fox News. Colombian President Petro calls cocaine no worse than whiskey, suggests global legalization. Colombian President Gustavo Petro argued that cocaine is only illegal because it originates in Latin America, claiming that it's no worse than whiskey. During a historical live broadcast government meeting, Petro suggested that legalizing cocaine worldwide could dismantle the drug trade, comparing it to the wine industry. He also highlighted the fentanyl crisis in the U.S., pointing out that the opioid linked to 75,000 American deaths annually is not produced in Colombia. Since taking office in 2022, Petro has sought peace with armed groups funded by drug trafficking, even as Colombia's cocaine production hit a record 2,600 tons in 2023. When contacted for a response, Scott Weiland, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Whitney Houston, Ike Turner, Chris Farley, River Phoenix, Len Bias, John Belushi, Elvis Presley, Freddie Prinze, and Jim Morrison all said, "Nothing, because they're dead." I am Matt Watson, and you are listening to news that nobody cares about. Jen, what do you think? Pluto Nash on the tap for your film viewing this weekend?
Oh, for sure. That's my Friday night. Yeah, that and oh God. And I love John Denver, but wow. Well, we're digging deep on that one.
and in another title that you won't want to miss, Critters 4.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pay somewhere else to see the first 3 episodes, but Critters 4 is free on Warner Brothers YouTube channel. Again, this has been SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley with news that nobody cares about. I am Matt Watson. You are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. When we get back, we will be talking to the leadership from Bridge to Home. Going to be extremely inspiring. You won't want to miss out. This is your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. Joining me now from Bridge to Home are Kris Najarro and Mandy O'Connor. Ms. Najarro is Bridge to Home's executive director. She's an experienced social service professional with nearly a quarter century of experience. She joined the Bridge to Home team in August of 2017 as director of programs. She's been working to serve the homeless community of Santa Clarita Valley since 2011 when she accepted the director role of Family Promise of Santa Clarita Valley. And her partner, Miss Mandy O'Connor, is Bridge to Home's Director of Development. She brings over 10 years of experience in the nonprofit industry, previously serving in a similar capacity for an educational foundation in Northern California. Her passion for creating meaningful impact and her skilled approach to donor relations have been key drivers of her success in the nonprofit world. Ladies, welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Hi,
Hello, thank you for having us.
So glad to have you. You're great guests, but more than that, Bridge to Home is just an amazing resource in the Valley that is so needed. But let's start with the two of you. Let's let our listeners know a little bit more about who you are and what you do. Can you each take a second to tell us about what drew you to Bridge to Home and what your role is?
So, I'm the executive director. I've been the executive director now since, I think, the end of 2021.
So you're the boss.
I'm the boss.
All right.
Yeah. Everything starts and ends with me.
Okay.
But I've been with doing homeless services here in Santa Clarita since 2011. Like you mentioned, I worked with Family Promise, and it's just a passion of mine. I love doing homeless services. I love doing it here in Santa Clarita. I think it's very meaningful work, and I love the team that I work with, and they are just as passionate, if not more, and we're trying to make a difference and trying to end homelessness here in Santa Clarita.
Yeah, bless you. What about you, Mandy?
Hi there. I moved back to Santa Clarita a few years ago, and I love the nonprofit arena. And I said to myself, in my career and my next journey, I want to be a part of a nonprofit that impacts my community, and I found Bridge to Home. It is everything I could have ever asked for. I love to be of service to people that need us. As Kris said, I love my team. I think that we're driven, and we are making a real impact with this community alongside of us.
Okay, and you are Director of Development, so...
Yes, so I help fundraise
There you go.
every day, all day long, boots on the ground. I have built great relationships with people in this community. We have a very giving community and county and city, and that is my job every day.
It's a tough job. It's not easy to ask people for money, but when you're doing it for an organization like yours, I think it might become a little bit easier than maybe we had a guest last week who talked about how hard it is to ask for money, but he was doing it for political purposes. So
I don't know. I look at it like a relationship.
Okay.
I thoroughly love to talk to people and see what their passion is and what their mission is. And a lot of people want to give back to their community and their city. So talking to them is, okay, how do you want to do that? Do you want to volunteer? Do you want to bring meals? Or financially, this is helping you and your community find a solution. So it's been really great to meet people and build those strong relationships.
Kris, she's pretty good at this.
She's pretty good.
She might be a keeper.
Yeah, you don't need me.
Not true. We
No.
need everybody on your team to do what you do. So let's talk about what you do, because I'm sure, as folks drive around town here, right, we hear at city hall meetings and things like that, whether it's complaints or concerns. Folks talk about the homelessness issue here in Santa Clarita, but not everybody knows about Bridge to Home. So why don't you tell us what your mission is, what you do, and how Bridge to Home has evolved over the years?
Yeah, so we've been around since 1997. We were a very small nonprofit, volunteer-based. We didn't actually have a permanent home. We jumped around from location to location, and we were out of modular buildings that just recently we demolished and got destroyed destroyed them because we got our new permanent building. But we've been serving the community since, like I said, 1997, with the help of the city and the county of Los Angeles. And we were an emergency winter shelter to start, so we would only be open during the winter season, and then on off seasons, we would just provide dinners and showers in the evenings. And in 2019, we became a year-round shelter, and we were serving 60 individuals at that time, and now we are up to 69 with the opening of our new shelter.
Wow.
And we also have 8 family units. For the first time, we're serving families experiencing homelessness in the Santa Clarita Valley. So that was a big deal for us to finally be able to accept families here locally to help them with their shelter needs.
That is beautiful, but at the same time tells a tragic story
Yes,
of what it must be like to raise a family being unhoused. So what are some of the biggest challenges that y'all face, or maybe some of the biggest challenges facing the homelessness issue here in Santa Clarita?
So I think there's several, but the main challenge is that, and we all probably we've heard it over and over again throughout the United States, Los Angeles County, but specifically here in Santa Clarita, is affordable housing. That's our biggest challenge. It costs a lot of money to live in Santa Clarita.
A lot of money.
Yeah, and most of the people that we serve are people from this community and would like to stay in this community. This is where they work, their kids go to school. This is where their friends and family are located. They know the city, they know how to get around, they know the public transportation. So they would like to stay here, and moving out of this city, it can be quite scary for anyone in any situation. It's a little nerve-wracking to leave your hometown or your the city you've been living in for the last several years. And so for us, it's challenging to find affordable housing here in Santa Clarita. Only about 10% of our housed individuals get to stay within the city. Otherwise, they get placed in the San Fernando Valley, the Antelope Valley. And that is, disheartening and difficult. And
that can be hard. To find a permanent place, you got to move out of this valley. That's too bad.
So it takes a little bit more time than we'd like because we have to do a little, convincing and talking to our clients to help them understand why it's important for them to just, to accept something that's available and hopefully one day be able to come back to their hometown.
Sure, especially thinking, I know it'd be great to get into a place, but to do so, my kids have to change schools, or I've got to be further away from work, and my car might not be reliable, or what have you. Yeah. So let's talk about your process. So how do you step in and identify? Do you call them clients? And then what's the process that you use to serve?
So not everybody receives shelter services from us. Some people just come in and receive day services and case management services, but everybody pretty much comes in the same way, which is they find our shelter in some way or another. Okay. Sometimes they call 211, which is a human and social service line that you call similar to 911 or, it's LA, it's county based. So if you call 211 here in Santa Clarita, you're going to get the LA County operators, and then they're going to direct you to a local shelter or, human social service program that you need. And then some people find us online. Some people, it's word of mouth, they know somebody or somebody knows of us. And then they give us a call or they show up at our doorsteps and we take it from there. We do an intake process, we assess their needs, and then we move them along the process. And if they need shelter and we have a bed available, then we make it available to them and begin services immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, so it can certainly be challenging, and with things the way they are, it can be kind of, once you get somebody in a permanent place, you've got somebody else coming in your front door.
Yeah.
But Mandy, you and I were talking before we started the show today about what a blessing it can be to be here in Santa Clarita, and how important the partnerships that you make in and around town. Can you talk about some of the groups that you partner with and how amazing our community can be when it comes to uplifting an organization like yours?
Oh, I'd love to. We have hundreds of volunteers every year, hundreds.
Okay.
And that comes from corporations and our amazing congregations. I can't tell you how many clubs, organizations, corporations, foundations come and call us, knock on our door and say, what can I do? So that entails from meals. So we serve 3 meals a day to our residents, and we serve 2 meals a day to anyone in the Santa Clarita Valley that needs a meal. So that is Feed It Forward program. And as of this last calendar year, we served over 400 Feed It Forward clients.
Nice.
And that's pretty much unduplicated. So
Okay.
people are coming in each day. So we need around 115 meals for lunch and dinner. And that is provided by this incredible community. So it's great. We have scouts come in. We have congregational leaders with their teams. We have baseball teams, softball teams. They bring bagged lunches, and then they serve these individuals nightly. And so it's inspiring to see everybody in this community. Santa Clarita shows up.
Absolutely. And so we'll talk about it again after the break, but I don't want to miss the opportunity to talk about how folks can get involved. If I have a congregation, a club, a team, a group, an organization, or maybe just me and my kids that want to get involved, what are some ways that folks, how do they get a hold of you, and then how can they either volunteer or give to help support Bridge to Home?
Then go to b2home.org, and right as soon as you click on it, it will say, would you like to volunteer? And you give us your information. You can call directly as well. Ask for me, Mandy O'Connor, or Liz Perez, our activities and volunteer coordinator. Meals are very important to us. Hygiene essential packages are important to us.
Okay.
Also items such as water, milk, sugar, healthy snacks, cereals, oatmeals. That's really all we need every single day, because we're serving over 100 people each meal every day.
Okay.
And families and children. And that monetary is wonderful, but also these donation items, clothing, beanies right now, gloves, they don't come to our shelter with much, and they don't have much.
Okay, so if you've got a little bit of extra cash you can donate, or some goods and materials, or if you've got 2 hands and you're willing to lift something up, and while you're lifting other people up, go to b2home.org. That's the letter B, the word 2, T-O, home.org, and you can volunteer. You can chip in. So let's talk about the folks that you help, Kris. I don't want to disclose any private information or anything like that, but can you give us a little bit of information on the clients you serve? Who does Bridge to Home help?
We pretty much help everyone. If you have a need, we have a place for you. So we help single individuals and men and female of all types of backgrounds, and then we help families with children under the age of 18. Also, there's no limit to how many children you can have, or at least one child has to be under the age of 18, and people with disabilities, older adults. It doesn't even have to be necessarily a mom and dad and children. It could be a single mom, single dad. It could be grandparents that have their grandchildren in their care. So really, we will, like I said, we will accept anybody that has a need for shelter, food, or, some sort of assistance.
Yeah. I'm sitting here smiling because I'm thinking about so many people that are going to drive home from work today, just kind of rubbing their forehead thinking, why am I even doing this? I can't imagine that happens very often with you and your team at Bridge to Home, with your why so much at the forefront. Right. And if our listeners just want to connect to making that impact like the two of you do every single day, again, it's b2home.org. We have to take a break in just a minute, but before we do, is there maybe one success story that you'd like to share to kind of inspire our listeners?
We have several. We have so many. This year we housed over 100. This past calendar year we housed over 110 individuals or households. So that's a huge success for us. But Mandy has a really good story that she's been working with somebody for several months now and collecting information and taking photographs and really showcasing her story. So I'm going to let Mandy talk
Patty
about her.
Elroy. Patty Elroy is a gem. She was with us for a while in the shelter. She is a woman who have grandchildren and children and just found herself in a place that she couldn't afford to be in her apartment anymore. And she lived in her car, and she was referred to Bridge to Home, and they said, call this number. And she called the number, and they said, you know what? We'll have a bed tomorrow. Oh. And they called her again. She showed up. She was with us. She leaned in. She worked with her case manager. They become a part of our family. And she was just housed, I'm excited to say, a few months ago, and she was housed in the Santa Clarita Valley in an apartment complex right by St. Stephen's Church, who is a wonderful contributor of Bridge to Home. She says she feels safe now. She says she feels like she has dignity again, and Bridge to Home helped her find her way back to her life.
That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. We do need to take a quick break. Bridge to Home's Chris Najarro and Mandy O'Connor joining me this morning, serving some of the most vulnerable in our community. When we get back, they're serving soup for your soul. That and much more, and as well as ways that you can continue to get involved. Stay tuned. I'm Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. Joining me this segment is Kris Najarro and Mandy O'Connor, Bridge to Home's Executive Director and Director of Development, respectively. So we talked about a lot of the services you provide. Is there anything that might surprise our listeners that, wow, I didn't realize that the homeless shelter, that Bridge to Home would provide that type of service?
I think most people are not familiar with our Feeding It Forward program, even though it's been something we've been doing from the very beginning. Like I said,
interesting.
When we would close for the shelter in the winter seasons and we'd stay open, that was Feeding It Forward. We would provide a dinner and we would do showers, and then on their way out, we would provide lunches. We've expanded that program quite a bit since then, and now we are open for Feeding It Forward from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and we allow people to come in and have a shower, do laundry, and then hang out inside so they don't have to be out in the elements or out, in the community, and and then build their own community within that. And then they participate in all of our activities. So if we have anything going on throughout the day, they're welcome to participate. They have access to case managers there, any training sessions, and then the 2 meals per day. They have lunch and dinner, and it's just a safe indoor space for them, and that's welcoming. So I think a lot of people aren't familiar with that program and the extensive services that we provide through that.
That is beautiful. So even clients that aren't necessarily staying with you overnight still have access to do their laundry, get a hot shower, access to counseling, career services, and get 2 meals. That is fantastic.
Yes.
Love the way you throw your arms around our community that way. So you're in your new place, which is exciting. I know that was a huge project that y'all had been working on for quite a while. And now that you're settled in your new home, what have you got your guys on for the future? What are your goals at Bridge to Home?
It's a big one.
Okay.
But affordable housing. We would like to start looking into affordable housing, working with the city and the county to see if we can, develop something locally for our clients to move into and stay within their community. That's a huge undertaking, and it's going to take some time, but it's always been something that Bridge to Home has thought about and knew that after the shelter was built, which was our priority, that we were going to dive into. So that is something that, we're starting to have the conversations about, and we've already had, just very preliminary conversations with the city and the county, and they seem to be very supportive of that.
Good.
So, yeah, I'm sure more to come on that. Yeah.
Okay. Now, that topic of affordable housing can be challenging here in Santa Clarita, because folks understand that it's important and it's necessary.
Yeah.
But oftentimes we don't want it across the street from our house.
Right.
But that's something that you all in the city are working on solving, that kind of dichotomy.
Yes, I think it's. Obviously, it's important, right? We all need to affordability is different for every individual. So, and we need to allow people access to every community and the communities that they want to live in, and make them part of that community. So they're just like everyone else, and everybody is entitled to that. And I think it's important for us to recognize that. And, we have a little bit of everything in every community. Absolutely.
And it's just such a struggle to wrap your head around the idea that affordable housing is a home available under $500,000.
Right.
It's incredible. So all these services that you provide, it's got to be such an incredible challenge. How do you all sustain it financially, Mandy? Is it through strictly partnerships with government agencies like the city, the county, the state?
That's our primary funding.
All right.
So definitely we have funding through our state, federal. We also have county funding. We have city funding. We have received grants from public and private sectors, and our individuals in this town give daily and monthly. And we could not do it with all of those entities. It takes a lot to run this organization. We have 50 employees now.
Okay.
That's huge.
Yeah.
We run a exclusive nonprofit in the fact that it's not just the shelter. And I think that's one thing people don't understand. We help the individuals in the shelter. We help the folks around our shelter through Feed It Forward. But we also help over 700 people outside of the shelter not become homeless. So we have case managers.
So you're doing the prevention. That's
Correct.
Amazing.
So that's the part I don't think. When we say, last year we just did our numbers, we served over 1,250 individuals.
Wow.
That's not all in the shelter.
Okay.
And these wonderful case managers that we have, they work inside and outside the shelter, but with our clients that are not housed in our shelter. And so they're preventing. We don't want them to be homeless. Okay, what do you need? Oh, we need more education with you. Okay, what do you need? Training? Are you looking for job assistance? That's what they do, not just in the shelter. I think they don't understand that. Some people say, well, how did you help 1,250 when you only house 101 and the average stay could be a year? That's how.
Yeah.
That's how. And that's through that. We couldn't do that without the funding of our staff.
Right.
And that is through the county and the city, and like I said, federal and state. And all of these, our leaders really show up for Bridge to Home. I've seen it. And they know our names, and they know our staff's names, and we have built really great partnerships with these individuals. And it's remarkable work for this organization because of that.
Yeah, and such a huge impact. And like you said, I love that you're working so hard to prevent homelessness. That is absolutely beautiful. I know you also rely on the support of events, fundraisers, and you've got one coming up. Can you tell our listeners about Soup for the Soul? What is that event?
Oh, I'm so excited. I live it, breathe it right now. We're in the home stretch.
All right.
We're going to have it this year on Saturday, February 22nd at the Hyatt Regency Valencia. We are going to fill the house. We have an opportunity to have 300 people in that room. Right now we have 30 sponsors that are wonderful community corporations and congregations. Like I said, these people show up for Bridge to Home. We still have sponsorships available at $1,000 level, Hotsy Totsy sponsor, $2,000 level, Snazzy sponsor. We have the $3,500 level, which is our Jazzy sponsor, and we have a $5,000 level, our Bee's Knees sponsor. So this year we're going to roar into a new era because we roared into building our new shelter facility. And we're going to have the 1920s theme. I think I'm going to be a flapper. I think Kris is going to be a gangster.
Okay.
So watch out. Watch out.
Okay.
I've been hearing a lot of different costumes coming together.
Uh-huh.
We are going to have live jazz music. We're going to have singers. We have a jazz person you will know, John Pramack, come and play for us on the piano.
Yep.
We're going to have a speakeasy where we have over 60 silent auction items that we have taken a lot of care and time to put together these packages. We have over 15 live auction items, and we're just going to have some fun. And we're going to celebrate our contributors because we could not do this without these people in this community. And we're going to celebrate our clients and talk about our success stories because we've changed a lot of lives this year.
So much fun, flappers and wise guys, and so are you actually selling soup?
This year we're not going to have soup,
No
but the
soup, okay.
soup, this is how I look at it. We've turned it into our stories are the soup for the soul.
There you go.
You're going to hear stories. You're going to hear what we've done this year, and yes, you are going to get a gift, and it may be some soup.
Okay,
You just may
great.
not be eating it that night.
Okay.
And that's all right.
Okay. So it's February 22nd. What time and where?
It's at the Hyatt Regency Valencia. It
Okay.
starts at 5 p.m., and the doors open at 5 p.m., and the program begins at 6:30 p.m.
Right.
And we would love to have you join us. Come have some fun. Come celebrate this town. What we have really made, we've been building some solutions in this town through Bridge to Home, and we'd love to have you there. And we're just going to have some fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So folks show up
B2.
at 5 o'clock, enjoy a
Yes.
little bit of soup on ice, and
There you go.
and then the program you said starts at 6:30. You mentioned you're still taking sponsors.
Yes.
All the way from the what did you say?
Hotsy Totsy.
Hotsy Totsy up to the Bee's Knees level. So how do folks sponsor? Is that just on your website?
Yes. So you want to go to b2org, b2home.org/events.
Okay.
And you can just call me directly, and I will help you. Mandy O'Connor will help you walk you through a sponsorship or buy some tickets.
There you go. That was my next question.
That's the easiest way to do it. But you can go to b2org, b2home.org/2025 Soup for the Soul tickets and purchase your ticket there as well.
Fantastic. So you've got the Soup for the Soul event coming up. And we mentioned it a little bit before, but how else can folks get involved? Whether it's volunteering to help with this event, giving or attending the event, but what other ways can folks get involved with Bridge to Home and the amazing things that your team is accomplishing?
Volunteering is huge. I think when you volunteer for an organization to start with, you get to know what they do. So again, it would be bringing meals for lunch or dinner, bringing a donation via a food item, clothing, hygiene essentials would be wonderful. We are always in need of those. Volunteering for this event, we are still in need of some setups and cleanups, and
Okay.
come see what we're doing there those 2 days, the day before and after. I think one of the bigger ones for monetary donations would be a bridge builder. So a bridge builder is someone who gives monthly, which helps,
Okay.
which really is vital to our organization, and we've really been growing that that group of people because they're committed to keeping those doors open at Bridge to Home Shelter.
What I love about that type of giving on a monthly basis, and Mandy, I'm assuming folks can just set it up so that it's automatic, don't even have to think about it.
Correct.
And then it you don't feel it, right? It's just something that you do.
Right.
And that has two different types of impact when you're a bridge builder for Bridge to Home, a monthly giver. You obviously are supporting a more than worthy cause that's making a huge and lasting impact on your neighbors here in Santa Clarita, but then also for your kids. You're showing them that giving isn't something that you do
Very good.
once.
Right.
It's something that's a way of life.
Right.
And so that is absolutely crucial.
And it doesn't have to be a large, right? We love our large year-end gifts as well, too, right? And then each month, just maybe say I'm going to sacrifice something for $10 per month, and I'm going to give it to Bridge to Home.
Yeah, and $10 a month is nothing, right? But it's such a huge impact on you all, because if we can get 100 people to give $10 a month, that would be a game changer for our community. That is amazing. So I'm trying to get folks to kind of ease into, because doing something new can be a little bit daunting. You mentioned you need volunteers to help set up for Soup for the Soul. So you need set up on the 21st of February, tear down on the 23rd of February. Why not set up, then attend, then tear down? That'd be a great way to get involved. But you also mentioned meals. So would I just cook a casserole, cover it with saran wrap, and bring it in? What does that look like?
Yeah, it could be just that.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It's that easy. Yeah, you can come and drop it off if you'd like, whatever the meal may be. And then you can stay and serve it and get to know some of our clients and our staff, see the operations. And, if it's new to you, it's a great way to see what we do and build your trust with the organization and really see the families and the individuals that we're working with and changing their lives. So, and you could do it for lunch, you could do it for dinner, and sometimes you can share your talents too. If you have a lot of our volunteers come in and do yoga classes or financial advisory classes. And then, and they teach a class to our clients on a regular basis, or maybe just once, and they see how it goes. And then, 6 months later, they might come back. And it's a great way to get involved and to kind of pay it forward with your talents,
Yeah, absolutely. What a great idea. I hadn't thought about that. That's, hey, banker, CPA, you've got a couple of hours a week that you could go in and share some of that type of stuff. I was talking to my son about exactly that. The idea that basic financial understanding can be part of developing generational wealth, right? And there are groups that don't have, folks that don't have parents that can advise them on how to establish credit, how to invest, and how to set aside for their retirement, that kind of thing. But there's got to be dozens of people that are hearing our voices right now that could provide just that type of education or anything else. Get in contact with Bridge to Home and help share your talents. So let's just kind of recap. Y'all are serving hundreds of folks in the community. Housing, how many did you say? About 100 a night?
We house over 100 people every night in shelter.
But your impact is over 1,000 every single day. Providing not just overnight housing, but providing a hot shower, laundry, 2 hot meals a day, counseling services, support services, whatever services that you, listeners, can come into Bridge to Home and help provide. And then, Mandy, one more time, just set up this event, the who, what, when, where, why of Soup for the Soul.
2025 Soup for the Soul. We're going to roar into a new era as we have opened up our new shelter facility. We're going to celebrate on Saturday, February 22nd at the Hyatt Regency Valencia. Doors open at 5 p.m. The program begins at 6:30 p.m. We are going to celebrate our contributors, our clients, our success stories, this incredible community of Santa Clarita, and how we come together and invest in solutions and not sit in a problem.
Jen, capture that last 30 seconds. We need to be rerunning that as a commercial over and over and over again. Such an amazing organization to support. Bridge to Home. Again, the letter B, the word 2, b2home.org. Chris Najarro and Mandy O'Connor, Bridge to Home's Executive Director and Director of Development. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Thank you for what you do for our community.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, it's our pleasure. When we get back, the show comes completely off the rails as my stupid big brother comes in. And I just want to remind our listeners that neither I nor KHTS nor SCVi or iLead Schools are responsible for the content that comes out of Big T's pie hole. I am Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead Schools' Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead Schools' Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson, but that doesn't matter because now it is time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Y'all know Big T. Big T is an executive and philanthropist. He's an amazing father, husband, and dog dad, and he is living proof that persistence beats talent every time. Here he is, everybody. He's Mom's favorite, Big T. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Maddie.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great. Of course, as we always do, we've got engineer Jen here. We've got engineer Andrew joining us. The three of us are here for you, T.
Good deal. I know you guys are getting a little rain down there. We're getting a little snow here. If you look, Matt, the snow's it's right over there.
Oh, wow. That close.
Yeah.
Nice. We've actually got the sun coming out. The skies are blue. It was a little rainy when I came in the studio this morning, but it is drying up. It's going to be a beautiful weekend here in the Valley, T.
Awesome.
All righty. So we got the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. I know you were going to push Papa, who we're going to say had a year in college football. That's no modifier at all. Were you going to push him for a pick? Did you get a pick from Papa for the Super Bowl?
I did not push Papa for a pick.
Okay.
Papa pushed me.
Oh.
Papa called on Wednesday asking if I was going to cover it on Friday, and he wanted to make sure that it be known to all that he has taken the Eagles in a 1.5.
He's taking the Eagles in a point and a half, and not because he had station owners Carl and Jerry Cerati Goldman leaning on him, the huge Eagles fans that they are. So, Big T, I know his record was not the best this year in college football, but are you taking Papa's advice and taking the 1.5 in the Eagles, or are you going to fade Papa? What do you think?
I think I think Big T is going to go the red Gatorade.
The red Gatorade, which means you're going Chiefs, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, Andrew, who you got?
I'm with Papa there. Let's go Eagles.
All righty, Engineer Andrew, looking at job security.
Right.
What about you, Jen? Who you got?
Well, I'm from the Midwest, so I have to cheer on the Chiefs.
Okay. All righty. I'm going with the Eagles. I think Saquon is just absolutely unstoppable, and if you do stop him, then Jalen Hurts is going to torch you. It's just too big of a 1-2 punch. I think not only do the Eagles win it, I think they're going to run away with it.
Oh, literally. Maybe.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, Maddie, I know you love my little rabbit trail stories. I
do.
have actually been to the Chiefs Stadium. I went to the Chiefs Stadium, and then I saw a Royals game at the stadium right next door.
Nice.
It was on a road trip, and you know the industry Big T works in.
Yep.
We pulled up to park at the stadium in a brand new toilet pump truck.
Yes. Can I park this right over here next to your car?
We did. We parked it in the overflow parking, and coming back.
Wait.
Hotel.
Time out, Tony.
Nope.
You parked your big
Too easy.
toilet truck in which parking lot?
Overflow parking.
All right.
The truck was brand new. There was nothing in it. I see your little jokes.
Okay.
Coming back. We stopped because we were at hours of service, and so we had to stop and spend the night in Vegas. The cheapest hotel that Sammy and I found was Caesar's Palace, and so we valet parked the poop truck at Caesar's Palace.
Oh my God.
And how do you hand the keys off to the kid at the valet for something like that?
He took the keys, walked to the truck, and stopped and turned back and said, "Is it full?"
Because I need to know what I'm dealing with as I turn that corner. Oh, man. Would you do me a favor? We're going to be here overnight. Would you have it serviced?
Oh gosh.
Oh, boy. Right. Big T is the number one name in the number two business, baby.
There you go. All right, are we ready?
Okay, so you got some trivia questions for us. For those who haven't heard, Big T has trivia questions. Jen, Andrew, and I are going to, we've got our buzzers here. Our buzzers are our names. We're going to be calling out our names and then answering. You can play along at home. You can actually get the drop on us because you just shout out your answer. But Jen, Andrew, and I are pretty good. I don't know if you're going to be able to beat us. In fact, last week, Jen, Andrew, you embarrassed me. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I was
that's right.
taking it on the chops all week long. Y'all embarrassed me last week, and then apparently just walked away and forgot about it.
I did, yeah.
So
Didn't we tie? I think we were tied.
We did, but you got the
Andrew
last
and I were
one.
tied.
You
Yep.
got the
Yep.
tiebreaker.
But you each like tripled my total. So I've been getting my sleep. I've been taking my vitamins all week, and I am ready.
Flintstones vitamins.
There we go. Yes, they're chewable. All right, Big T, we're ready for you.
All righty, so I got a three-part fun fact, and it's Grammy-related, okay? So the Grammys were this past week. You know, Beyonce won for Album of the Year, and in her lifetime, she has 35 Grammys now. She has the most of any other person in history. She has won a Grammy in 21 of the last 24 years.
Holy moly.
She's won Grammys. And you look at the categories, Maddie, and whether you're a big Beyonce fan or not, she's won in the R&B category. She's won in the rap category. She's won urban contemporary. She's won best surround sound album. I didn't know that was a category.
Wow.
And now best country
I want to sing
album.
surround sound.
Okay.
Now,
Right.
Now, what did she win this year?
Country album of the year.
Beyonce did.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Lil Nas X wasn't country. Okay.
No.
All right.
But he was in a Dr. Pepper commercial.
He was. He was, and he looks good, boy.
He did. So second on the list is Sir George Solti, a Hungarian composer who's won 31 Grammys in the opera category. Do you know who number 3 is on the list, Frogger? That would be Jay-Z with 25 Grammys. So between the Queen Bee and her husband, they've got 60 Grammys that they have to house. Hopefully they got a big enough place, but we'll know. Who knows?
Wow, that's like more Grammys than everybody else.
Right. Pretty much. Get a little bit down on the list is Kendrick Lamar, who's going to be the Super Bowl halftime show performer. Kendrick won another 5 Grammys this past week, and there's going to be a lot of folks that you're watching the Super Bowl with, Frogger, especially people your age that don't know who Kendrick Lamar is. Well, with his 5 Grammys, the 37
He's the guy from Reading Rainbow, right?
No.
Shoot.
No. So he now has 22 Grammys to date. Now, it's probably notable. He has more Grammys than Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Elvis, Diana Ross, The Who, Queen, Bob Marley, Snoop Dogg, Brian McKnight, Martina McBride, Katy Perry, Nicki Minaj, and Morrissey combined.
Combined?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Combined.
Holy cow.
Okay.
Isn't that nuts?
That's
Yes,
crazy.
it is nuts. There's something wrong with the Grammys.
What?
Okay. Fair enough.
All right.
Alrighty.
Okay, let's go
All
ahead
right,
and do
let's get
this.
some trivia.
Let's do it.
All righty. What is a word that has the opposite meaning of another word called?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Antonym.
That is an antonym.
Test me on grammar.
Figure of speech that compares. What's the figure of speech that compares two unlike things using like or as?
Jen. Oh.
Jen.
Oh. Well, a synonym. But I was
No.
going to say
Andrew,
apples and
synonym?
oranges,
No.
but I don't think that's right.
No. Andrew, go for it.
Simile.
No.
Simile.
Simile is correct.
Also known as a
What is
simile.
the word that has the same meaning as another word called?
Frogger. Frogger.
What?
Frogger.
That's a synonym.
That is a
There we go. Almost.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And Tony, right next door,
that tells you-
right next door at Jasmine, they serve synonym rolls. They are so
That's
sweet.
how you roll.
Yes.
What is the part of the sentence that tells what the subject is or does called?
Jen.
Oh, Frogger.
Jen?
A verb.
Incorrect.
Frogger. That is the predicate.
Predicate is correct.
Fourth grade
Wasn't
teacher in the
ready to
house.
come into,
Fourth grade teacher in the house.
What is the comparison between two things without
Frogger.
using like or as called? Frogger.
That's a metaphor.
That is a metaphor.
And
All right,
that's
last
also
question on
coincidentally a question that they ask Mark Zuckerberg almost every day. What's a metaphor?
Right. What is a word or phrase that connects words, phrases, and clauses called?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Come on, sing it with me, boys. Conjunction, junction. What's your function?
Hooking up phrases and clauses. All right. We got an interesting category. Big T loves throwing these on, just like Frogger does with his cute little news segment this morning. But I'm going to give you a meaning or a term, and you let me know what it means and what the sport is. So first one, we'll make it easy. What is a mulligan, and what sport is it derived from? Andrew.
That is golf, and it is a redo.
It's a do-over, right?
It's a do-over.
Second one. What is the meaning and the sport to dropping dimes?
Frogger.
Andrew. Okay.
Frogger.
That would be my favorite sport, basketball. And it's making great shots.
Incorrect.
Oh, no!
Andrew?
Dimes.
I already gave myself the point.
Yeah, I was just on a hot streak, making buckets, but I guess not.
It is basketball, but dropping dimes refers to an assist.
Okay.
Okay. Womp womp.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
What is the meaning in the sport of apotaco?
Frogger.
Oh, okay.
Frogger.
Andrew.
That's baseball, and it's an opposite field home run.
That is correct.
Andrew.
What's the meaning of goat?
Jen.
Oh.
Was that Jen first?
Yes, it was.
I'm taking this one because I don't know any of these other ones. I demand that I take this, the greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time, correct. What's the meaning in sport of the expression behind the eight ball?
Jen.
Jen?
Is it referring to, pool is not a sport, but behind the eight
no.
ball means that you're kind of screwed, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah, you're.
Good luck, Chuck.
We'll give it to you, Jen. It is billiards. It's debatable whether that's a sport, correct? And it means you're stuck in a bad position, correct?
We got time for two more quick ones, T.
All right, what's the meaning of ace in baseball?
Frogger.
Andrew.
In
Frogger.
baseball. Okay, he is your star starting pitcher.
Correct. What is the meaning of ace in tennis?
Frogger.
Frogger.
That's when your opponent can't return your serve.
That is correct.
Alrighty, you got one more ace for us?
Brazil? Yeah. What's the official language of Brazil?
Andrew.
Oh.
Okay, is it going to be a trick one? It's Portuguese?
Here we go.
Portuguese is correct.
Okay, I don't know if it's going to be English.
Que mais con todos? Okay, Big T, we got to wrap it up. Checking the score. I did redeem myself this week. T, thanks for swinging by. We want to thank our guests, college and career counselor at SCVi Charter School, your free public charter school, TK through 12, iLeadSantaClarita.org. That's iLeadSantaClarita.org. Their college and career counselor was Kris Nilsen. Kris, thanks for getting our kids into college and off to great careers. Bridge to Homes Executive Director and Director of Development, respectively, Chris Najarro and Mandy O'Connor. Producer Sarah, Engineer Andrew, Engineer Jen, thank you. And thank you for listening. Remember, friends, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well, do good, and join us again next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station. Go Eagles! KHTS.